So I'm going to start to vlog more. I think I'm going to be doing this for at least 90 days. Where I kind of show you guys like what it is that I'm going through or what it is that I'm doing. And I used to do this a lot way back when I had a fitness channel. I used to vlog my whole day and everything like that. But yeah, so here's what I'm doing. This is why I'm kind of vlogging, is for the next like probably 90 days or even more. I'm wanting to reinvent myself and go through like a transformation. So I think this is important because I've kind of done this my whole life. Like every 5 years, I've kind of reinvented myself to the new version of me that I want to be. And I think that that's always important for everybody to do too. And one of the styles that I'm basically following is kind of like what I would say is like Looksmaxxing to some degree. So I'll give you an example. So what I'm starting to do right away when I wake up. So first off, like I'm way too big. So one of the mistakes, and this is one thing that I don't talk about very much, is like mistakes that I've made, right? I'm really big in teaching, obviously stuff when it comes to attraction, but as far as like my own personal traits and tendencies, I'll just gravitate towards bodybuilding. So over the years, I just got like bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So like I stepped on the scale today and I was like 192. I'll put up a picture on the screen right here of what I was, and I will also post a physique picture. But from what I can tell, my BMI is too high, right? So what I'm going to be doing is I want to lose probably 20-25 pounds-ish, right, over the span of the next 3-4 months here, and kind of go on a total transformation. So this is just really important because I think that not only will you guys get to see my entire like Looksmaxing journey, I know that that term is obviously very popular with a lot of people, you know, talking about it and everything, but you know, it's just different stuff that I'm doing. Like I have like a red light therapy hat. This helps with balding. Yeah, I started a treatment of, oh, what's it called, or where is it? Let me think here. Yeah, so like, this is Rogaine. I plan on using this. Down the road, I may get a hair transplant. I don't know yet, but like, I think that this will just be a good switch in content and a good switch in style. And I plan to talk about this like every single day over the next few months. So some of the things I'm doing too, and like, here's the thing. Here's what you got to remember. People only know what you put in front of them. Right, and this goes into your dating life too, right? If you show up in a cowboy hat and some Wranglers, she goes, oh, he's a cowboy. Right, the thing is I think that a lot of guys believe that their identity is fixed and they can't change. When the truth is, with a little bit of elbow grease, you can literally reinvent yourself into whoever you want to be. So there's different things you can do, right? And it starts with being happy with how you look and happy with how you feel. And I think that that's a big part of confidence too, and perception. But, and later on I'll show you kind of, they'll probably end up reinventing like my style or some of the clothing that I select and stuff like that. But here is my biggest shift, okay? My biggest shift, I would probably say, is I used to think when I was younger that the more muscle you have as a man, that's what's more or most attractive, right? So I used to think that the more muscle you get, the stronger you look, the more it looks like you can protect, the more manly you look, the better. And then what you see is the male or your masculine lens of attraction is far different from her female lens. So like my theory behind this, or like some of my friends that I've talked to who have been big into like Looksmaxing and stuff, and they're a fan of that. One of the things that I think not a lot of men realize is like bigger isn't always better when it comes to size. And the thing is the more muscle you add, right, it looks like you had to add all that, right? So if you had to do that, it looks not natural, right? So the closer you can get to like your genetic potential, but your genetic potential is in like your bare bones natural state, right? A thinner frame or a leaner, more aesthetic build is more attractive. So, you know, I think that we all have like these identities that we associate ourselves with. So like over the past 10 years, like I've associated myself as like more of a bodybuilder. But then if I ask myself, I'm like, well, why? Why do I have these beliefs that this is how I need to be or this is how I need to look? It's because I assumed that that was probably most attractive, right? And yes, I love fitness and I love bodybuilding, but then what happens is as you age and as you become wiser, you want to also question your beliefs and reinvent your beliefs to see if you can believe something new that gives you a better result. So I've never vlogged like this before, but I will, yeah, over the next 90 days, I'm going to show you guys a bunch of stuff. I'll probably take a physique photo in the morning. I'll probably post stuff. And this is going to be probably a long progression or a long journal. I've never Looksmaxed anything before. In fact, I really have never gave a shit about any of that. But, yeah, the show must go on, and I want to do a new style of content that I've never done. And, like, you know, I'm 28 right now. I'm going to see how far I can take my potential over the next 3-4 years too, you know, and we'll see what happens. One thing too, like, I think guys should just understand that, like, it's okay to reinvent yourself. And the thing is some of you guys, like, you got to realize too, you're always going to piss someone off. So, like, if I start to look different or I start to act different or be different over this next year, if you listen to what other people want or what you think they want, you're in for a rude awakening because you can't please everybody. Okay, so I really don't give a shit how any of this comes off, because the thing is I've produced more than enough content to satisfy damn near everyone, and I've had more than enough testimonials and transformations helping guys in their dating life. So if I feel like documenting my own personal life, you know, that's what I'm going to do. So today so far I had a pound of ground turkey, 1 egg mixed into it, and 2 bananas, and that's it. I broke my fast at 1:45 p.m. I've definitely been lean before. I think I looked my most aesthetic when I was probably about 167 to 170 pounds. But, like, let's just call a spade, right? Let's call it for what it is. The hottest women, you never see them with bodybuilders. Like, you just don't. The hottest women, whether it's on social media or anything, it's always men who do a much better job at appealing to the female lens of attraction and emotion, and usually they're thinner build. And, like, here's what you have to remember: if a beautiful woman has access to any man on earth that she wants, who she's choosing is who she's choosing. So you can't go against that, right? Because we have tons of people, right, who have been preaching be a high status guy and look more masculine and all this, but, like, when you see how shit plays out in the real world, that's not typically the case. Like, that typically isn't the guy who's getting the most beautiful women. So, like, I think guys have to actually take a second and self-reflect and say, why do I believe this? Is what I believe actually true? You know, and everybody was convinced that the more high status you become and the more money you make, the more attraction you're going to be able to generate with beautiful women. And I think a lot of guys believe that if they just hustle harder and they make more money, they're going to be this guy one day. And then you see in the real world, women don't give a shit. Like, women don't care. And here's the other thing too. I don't know who you're meeting, but every woman that I meet right now, like, I'm a normal guy just like you. Every woman I meet right now has their own job. They got their own job. They make their own money. They don't need a man to protect or provide, like everybody says. So what are they optimizing for? They're optimizing for hot men. They want attractive men. Why do women say, I'm independent? Because they want to be independent from needing the security and resources of a man, so that way they can choose to just be with the hot men that they want. And I think that most men are unaware of this. A lot of men say, oh, you know, I wish things were like in the old days where, you know, 2 people just stayed together. Well, okay, but I'm guessing the women back then had all these same thoughts and feelings too. The thing is people just operated differently. So you can't just disassociate from the truth and be like, oh, well, you know, this isn't true. Because the truth is, who the women choose is who the women choose. And you can't change that. So some of this stuff, right, women today don't need a man for security. They don't need a man to provide for them. They don't really need a man to protect them. So what are they optimizing for? They're optimizing for the hot men that they find hot. And it's not about what you find attractive, because what you find attractive as a man is probably more masculine, or becoming more masculine, or becoming stronger with more muscle. And, like, that has diminishing returns, where it's like that doesn't get you the results you're wanting. And I think all of you are going to see that for what it is, right? I love bodybuilding just as much as the other guy, but I think a lot of guys find themselves in this constant cycle of feeling like they have to do that or be that. But you'll see that that probably doesn't bring you the results you want. So yeah, day one. Okay, and just some overall simple fixes that you can do for food. So, like, I typically would do, like, beef, okay, which has more calories, more saturated fat. Today I swapped that out for lean ground turkey. Another thing that you can do, so like what I would typically do when I was more focused on bodybuilding, because that's my natural tendency, right? Like my natural tendency is I like strength, I like progressive overload training, I like to see how strong I can get, I like to get as strong as possible. But here's the problem with that. The problem is it makes you hungry. And when I'm doing these long 2-hour bodybuilding, almost like marathon workouts, my muscles are so destroyed that like cravings increase. You need enough calories to maintain that volume so you can handle that next workout. It's just too much, right? And like I feel like I'm big enough. Like I've been training for 10 years. I mean, my arms are pretty big. I want to slim down, and I think even cardio wise it would be healthier for me too. But like here's an example, right? So what I would typically stick to when I'm eating day to day is I would typically stick to like red meat, right? So like here's a full on New York strip steak. Here is some 85-15 beef. But the problem with this is like in the 4 servings, so like in the 4 servings here of the beef, it has 240 calories per serving, right? And it has 17 grams of fat per serving too, right? So the thing is the calories add up, right? This whole pound of lean ground beef, or not, it's not even that lean, but this whole pound of beef has almost 1,000 calories. And the total ounces of food, you're looking at 16 ounces of food total. Well, this, right, how many ounces are we looking at here? So this, we're looking at 1.18 pounds. So this actually has more food, right? This is 16 ounces. This is 1 pound. This is more than a pound. This has 1,000 calories, where this chicken total 110 calories by 4 servings. So this chicken only has about 440 calories, almost no fat, right, and 25 grams of protein per serving. So this is the difference. So this actually weighs more than a pound. This is a pound, but this has twice the amount of calories than this. So I could eat 2 pounds of food almost, or a full 2 pounds of food. That would equal close to the same calories of this 1 pound of food. So if you learn how to volumize your food, right, this is what I did. Today's like day 1. I'm choosing leaner options that have less calories, so it's easier to slim down. And yeah, just like make sure you look at the nutrition labels, because that's going to tell you what you're actually consuming.
Yeah, you bag those groceries.